Oh, I think I got this. Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Tara, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel, Spirit Mother Teachings of Going Within. Sorry, I kind of went on a little early and didn't adjust everything right. Okay. Today, I'm talking about let's see. I'm talking about the war between the masculine energy and the feminine energy. As I stated before, my topics can be quite intense. Okay. It's that they know you're going to be able to play. See, when you do stuff like this, like I pick a lot of hard topics, and as I said before, I go by my own experiences. Okay. And wow, when you go by your own experience, you actually start to see what you're not seeing. Okay. We see what Spirit is trying to show us that we're not seeing about ourselves on the masculine side and the feminine side. Okay, so it's not about one or the other because we struggle. Okay, and we when we struggle, we actually fight with that. Whether you're a man or whether you're a woman or male, female, or however you may refer to yourself, it's the struggle and the war between the masculine and feminine. And some don't want to look at that. There's a lot of bashing each other. You hear men saying, "Oh, all these feminists," and then it's like women could say, "Oh, all these pompous ass men," or anything like that. So it's kind of the back and forth. And I see that because I experience it, and I'm meant to be experiencing it in different ways. And it's like really, whoa, man, like holy shift. And it is a holy shift. It's a shift in our consciousness to bring the balance of the masculine and feminine back, because one wants to overpower the other. And this is what the war is about. One wants freedom and one wants like just control. And I did a saying on what freedom means to me. And freedom to me means free from the dome. A lot of people are saying like they feel like they're in a dome. Okay, and I understand what they're talking about, and I understand where they're coming from. And you have some people that have a lot of feminine to them, and some people have a lot of masculine, and then they're banging heads with one another, and the family setting no longer works out. And then we say about the way our kids are acting. Well, they're reflecting us. They're seeing what we as adults are doing. So we're teaching our children bad habits. Somebody just said, speak for yourself. Well, I'm going to say it whether you like this or not, because you told me to speak for myself. It's the aspect of you think or feel like you've never done something. That phrase to me tells me someone who feels like they're better than everybody else and they don't do no wrong. If your children are sitting in a chair and they're not doing much of anything, are they afraid to do something because of what a reaction may be? And there are families that have it connected together. And then some of those ones are saying, oh, well, look at your family. It's like, well, do you know what that person's family's been through? Whether it be them or their ancestors, because you carry your ancestors. They said, look at away. Excuse me, Rolly. Yeah, I know you are. Just wait. So before I get right into it and explain some things, okay? Because I'm going to use my own life experiences, okay? And some of you can relate to it and some of you can't. And some may say, oh, well, you're looking for attention. No, I'm not looking for attention, because I've come to realize that I need to look at myself. My trusty cards, these got a very good toyasa. Is Sugalabarigari on Mokoya, Shigiria Sakikon, a Toke at Tukilabarigari, a Kula S. Sulegri Manakoya Scalaviata. Yeah. I enjoy the game so well, I don't think I can play any other way but all out. Okay. So that there to me is like I will knock down anybody in my way to get what I want. So it's like that to me is like, well, are you a spoiled little child? Are you someone that is unable to share? Because it's like you got a pen and somebody wants to use that pen. That's mine. Seriously? See, I'm beginning to look into other things. I was looking into it. And it was like I got bullied because I was seeing truths that other parts didn't want truth coming out, because then it would kind of put a dent, or not. Dent is like. It was more of I'll put you in your place. Right here. I don't follow a God who's cruel, who says that killing is the way, war is the way. Only for an ego, because it wants to overpower. Because I would have to say that maybe it's afraid of its own feelings, its own masculinity or femininity, like masculine or feminine side, because it doesn't matter whether you have an appearance of a man or a woman. And it's like it's beat in your head. Go to church, go to church, go to church. That's the only way. That's the only way. Did you ever notice when you sit in church, it's not about community and people. It's fighting how to be afraid of God. Well, the truth that God does not want you afraid. God wants to live with everyone in harmony. But some don't see that. I feel a masculine energy getting irritated with me. See, in this energy, I know that when it was younger, it had very feminine energy. But the masculine wanted to beat that energy out of it. So it made the feminine feel like it was less than. And the feminine side got disciplined because they were picking flowers and not coming home right away and what have you, just kind of off in what little children do, wanting to bring flowers home to mom and getting in trouble for it from the masculine. I had someone just ask me, am I talking about a certain person? It's like, well, I'm actually talking about everyone like that, not just a certain person. Because like I said, we all carry the masculine, we all carry the feminine, and like it's like sometimes the roles get reversed. See, there's a lot of stuff we're told. It's like, you got to learn this. You got to be afraid. You got to be afraid of the father, you, this, that, what have you. Like, seriously. They're little kids. It's like, we put a shell on, and that's the shell is the dome. We put a dome on, fear of, sometimes it's fear of what's out there, because if we don't see it, then we are afraid of it, or we get something that's pushed in our face and we're told, you got to be afraid of this, you got to be afraid of that, instead of being able to make your own choices. It's like we're told, like I said, we're told, go to church, and then it's just beating it in you of all the fighting. Because that's all I see. And that's why I don't read it. It's not about knowing the history. It's about seeing the control. And it's like, whenever I sat in church, it was like fear, fear, fear. This person did this group of people did this, and this group of people did that. It's like, well, what did you do to them? Because you're no better than them. And people want to like feel like you want to burn me or you want to melt my brain. Go ahead. It's not like you haven't done it before or tried. Seriously. And torn apart. The earth gets torn apart, raped, and everything. And that's a part of you. So it's like you're tearing your own mother apart. Maybe it's because you don't want to face your own self within you. And I said it the other day that, like, the mother stands up now, the feminine, because it's embracing both the masculine and feminine. And then when you get in church, it's more of the masculine. It's put in there what wants to be put in there, opposed to what's all truth. It's all kind of scattered here, there, and everywhere because everybody's trying to be heard. But it's only being put in what others want to be heard or seen or what have you. See, when you say about, like, okay, yes, you can. You can have a masculine gay. And in the relationship, sometimes there's one that appears more feminine, but like, I'm going to say it, like, okay, with men, well, sorry, not with men, but with the masculinity, masculine, what have you. It's like the cock of the walk. Do you ever see when two cocks are fighting, they tear each other apart? And then you have chickens. They say about the women henpecking. Because we're put against each other. I'm going to read a thing that I put up of what church means to me. Okay? Because I go in and I do a lot of sitting with myself. And I start having epiphanies. Okay? And shoot. Yes. And we are light, and we've been dimmed. It's like all like lights are put against each other. So what church means to me? C Christ. H, harmony. U, unity. R, reconnect to spirit self. C, consciousness. H, home. When you accept Christ, you have harmony, and with harmony comes unity to connect to spirit, consciousness. Then you are home because spirit is the way home. Okay? And then I wrote about you are your home. You are the church. You are birthed through spirit. You don't have to be in a building. It's not about getting on a knee to grovel. Oh, please forgive me. It's like, well, if you're asking for forgiveness, then why aren't you looking at the things that you're doing to feel like you got to ask for that forgiveness instead of saying, forgive me, and then go back out and do it again? Because I know I've been there. But I got to find the forgiveness within myself for the things that I've done. So that's the part of like one feeling victim over the other. When you're victimizing each other and you're victimizing yourself by like by victimizing each other, because you're a part of each other, whether you want to believe that or not. That's entirely up to yourself. It's about aligning to the chakras, the planets within you, each part of you. For years, I've been dealing with anger and hatred towards me from masculine energy, or pushing me under thumb and then things taking place and getting all the blame for it. So you have a masculine who wants to say, oh, well, I treat you like shit because of something you did. Well, hey, you were treating me like shit before that. And I groveled and cowered and kept going, oh, poor woe is me. When in actuality, I should have just stood up. It's like stood up and said, hey, you pompous ass. See, back years ago, I was leaving. And someone told me, no, go back. Which I shouldn't have listened to them. But the thing was, I love the person, whether I'm in a physical love relationship with them. It's like when you're in a relationship and you're depriving one from true intimacy, because it's not about having sex. And then I was in a car accident and then I went somewhere. And yep, I'm saying this, and it's like, well, you're airing your dirty laundry. Yep. That's okay. Because maybe, not maybe, people need to start seeing both sides of why somebody reacted one way or another. And one always wants the other person to see. So I went somewhere for medical help, and this person went with me. And I knew this person from when I was up in this place before because I worked with them. So they allowed us to stay at their place. Keep in mind, I just got a new place and wanted some paint myself to make my place look pretty. We went up there and we were staying there. I was extremely unwell. I couldn't eat. I couldn't really move a lot. And I was down in a basement, sleeping on a mattress on the floor. And this person was upstairs enjoying themselves, sitting around drinking and smoking their dope. It's not throwing shade on people that smoke dope because I did myself. Not only were they like spending all their time with them, but they were going and buying the person crap piles of paint, microwaves, driving them here, there, and everywhere. Meanwhile, I'm not well. Okay. Then a year, I got home. A year later, I went back out. And I would call home. And all I would get was somebody constantly hollering at me. I was sick. I was afraid. I was living in a home with a masculine that was an alcoholic, and all I could hear was the smashing and banging of him and his wife fighting upstairs. And then I have somebody hollering at me. So I cheated. Because I was feeling all alone. And then they'll say, well, shouldn't have went. Like, well, didn't matter whether I went or not when I was saying that I wasn't well. And, oh, well, like not every doctors can't be wrong. So as time went by, and I told them, Told him what I did. And then a few years later, I left because I wasn't having the person holler and treat my child and myself like they were less than them. Because that's how I felt. Just saying, oh, he'll get out. I'll put him out. So I got tired of him threatening him. And I packed up my bags and I left. And then I ended up getting a place up the road. And it wasn't fit for any human to live in. But I was okay. I've had my head, because I cared about somebody and it was storming out. And I forgive these people for this. But it's saying the experience with masculine. And then someone tells me today, you hate effing men. No, I don't hate men. I had my head because I was trying to keep someone from driving in a storm to go see somebody that I felt was not healthy for them. I was kind of, please, begging them not to go. And then I was grabbed. And then pushed violently back. I flew back. My head ricocheted off a door frame. And I went to the ground. I was losing consciousness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not, I said, I forgive this person. I'm just explaining something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I told him, get away. I was pushing them away. I was going unconscious. Ambulance come. Took me to the hospital. And there they asked me what happened. Told them I fell. So I ended up going home. I couldn't really walk. I couldn't take care of myself. Everyone left me there. I had 3 dogs that I had to take outside. I sustained a severe concussion on top of my car accident with a post-traumatic brain injury. I know they are. It's okay. And they left me by myself, and I called a more distant family member, like, can come help. But I was going unconscious, and my head would smash to the ground. I'd ask for help. Told them my body felt like it was on fire. And And then after the incident where I got shoved back extremely violently, there's another time we got into a little tiff and they picked me up and slammed me to the bed and hollered in my face. And that time I called the police. And I had a restraining order put on them. And then I had family members telling me I was in the wrong. So then I moved and I left that person behind. That was the first time it happened. And I was like afraid for this person because things were happening and they weren't happy themselves. And I was noticing things. And it was because all these things happened because of masculine energy. Was abusive to them too. And I would have my frustrations because it's not easy bringing up a child on your own because was never meant to be that way. And all got torn apart and you got to like get out. You got to do this. Your kids, like, what have you, send them to school. And then, oh, well, I can't wait till my kids go back to school. And then some, when the kids leave home, they have empty nest syndrome, as it's called. And when I got digging into stuff, I ended up having a experience on a masculine level, more so on a spiritual plane. And I'm feeling you right now. And it becomes a blame game. I had another encounter with another masculine, and I actually seen the face change. Because it was like I went from, you have the two, okay? Kind of like going back and forth. And I felt something even before I went in. And it become a physical altercation. Not punching. But grabbing a hold. Oh, because I was trying to talk to the person. And someone just said, sometimes you don't know when to quit. It's like, well, you know what? It's not a matter of sometimes you need to know when you don't know when to quit. It's a matter of keep your fucking hands off each other. Can't you use your damn voice? Communicate. And I ended up like grabbing and shoving back. It was like, oof. And in that moment, in that now time, I had a vision that I went flying down the steps. And then it stopped. Let go. But see, prior to me dying, in 2019, I was having visions and I was seeing through like what would be like a vision, a psychic vision of myself being in a hospital bed in a coma and my family sitting around me. So people think that, oh, you're delusional. No, when you're experiencing things that you can't explain, or it's just like the person is one way one minute and then all of a sudden it's like they have a totally different personality. That's because something shifted in that moment, or what have you. So the feminine part, they kind of will down. And then when they say about the feminists or something like that, it's like it's like throwing shade at each other when no, like it's like, men will say, oh well, you're not equal to us because we can lift more than you, what have you. It's not about who can lift more or who's stronger in that aspect, because some masculines will say, well, oh, like the feminine, they can't build things. Well, yeah, they can. You just have the stereotype that they can't. Maybe they are like, it's like it's supposed to be shared responsibility. That's what a family unit is. And then the masculine and feminine separate. And I'm past the stuff and I've moved on, but because somebody wants to have a power hold over you and make you feel like you're the reason why they feel the way they do. And the same person will say, well, they need to get over it. Well, I say to you, well, maybe you need to get over it. It's not a matter of like, because we're our ancestors, because behavior is learned and it's passed down from one generation to the next. So it's like, when is it going to stop? And the only one that can stop it from continuing the way that it is yourself. And it's not about killing one another. because they say about what happened with God and an angel or what have you. They call it a falling angel or what have you. How do you know it wasn't a feminine? But nobody wants to see a different possibility because of what's written in a book. But everything is your story is written in you. You're not going to find like you'll see violence, a lot of violence in the book of the fighting over the different religious aspects of it, of who's God and what have you. You get people like they live off the land. Live off the land, I live on the land. I live with the land. Because everything has an energy. And we destroy it. Because we can't put aside our own differences. And I feel that loathing right now, kind of. It's like, where do you get off? Like, who are you to say all this shit? Well, I could ask you the same question. Who are you to say all the shit that you say? Are you saying it from an experience? We all want to tell our experiences, but we don't want to hear the other side of it. Because it may change how somebody may look at you. I was sitting and having a conversation this morning with somebody. And because I asked a question and I had a slightly different opinion to it. Well, you're not supposed to have an opinion. You're just a woman. You're just a feminist. Fuck you, I'm a feminist. I stand with the people who are being roughshod over. And when I see around the country and people banding together to say, hey, fuck you, enough is enough. And then others, like when there was the trucker convoy in Canada, people were agreeing that, oh yeah, the government should freeze their fucking assets, should freeze their bank accounts. Are you freaking out to lunch? You're telling that person that they have no right to say anything. Do as you're told. We know what's best for you. And it can work either way. So it's not blaming one over the other. Am I saying yes for feminine women, feminine people to stand up against masculine. And it's got nothing to do with being a feminist. I have to ask the masculine that are so intimidated by the feminists and saying, oh, you're a feminist, you're this, you're that. Maybe you need to find, maybe you need to feel instead of taking with you what a masculine will say. Oh, well, a real man don't cry. I'm here to tell you a real man does cry, because it means that they're connected with both, that they are whole within themselves, that they are comfortable with themselves, whether one person says one thing over another. You get some masculine saying that, oh, well, a woman likes a bad boy. No. Maybe in your world, but most women want a man or a masculine energy. A feminine energy wants a masculine energy that is able to feel both. So it's not a matter of saying, like, you get people, oh, this is what a woman wants and this is what a man wants, because a few people says it. You can't speak for other people. Or they say, oh, women like men with muscles. Personally, I think it's pretty gross, actually, when a masculine energy has all kinds of muscles where it's like, oh, I'm this, I'm that. But it's because in some aspects, they feel feminine, but they got to pump themselves so they appear masculine. That's about being afraid of your own sexuality or what other people will think because you have these feelings or thoughts one way or another. And sometimes when people are throwing shade on people who like the same sex, whether it be a masculine interested in masculine or feminine interested in feminine or what have you, and they say about it, I'd hazard to say that maybe they're feeling something and they're ashamed of themselves for feeling that way because of society or what they perceive doesn't agree with it. So so it gets suppressed, and then you get angry and you blame that person because you feel that way. But it's not that person's fault. They're not in charge of how you feel. And because you react a certain way to what somebody else says or does, that's not their fault. When you're an aggressor, you're the one to blame for it in that aspect. Because we want to put blame on someone else because we don't want to look at ourselves. I know, because I've been there. And that was a part of the having to go inwards and see myself and the things that I didn't like about myself. Because when I would look in the mirror and say I hated myself, that was both my masculine and feminine hating each part of each part because of the choices they've made in that aspect of self. But I'm just a woman and I know nothing. But wait a minute. I'm not just a woman. Because I've embraced both masculine and feminine. And I see both sides. So when a masculine tells me that you hate men, who the fuck are you to tell me that I hate men? Maybe it's you who hate men. And you take it out on the women because you figure the woman or the feminine was supposed to stand up for you. It's like, but yet, masculine says that men are the hunter-gatherers. And the same person told me that basically it's okay for a man or a masculine to go from one to the other, one person to the other, sowing their outs. So the masculine body, the male body, can go have intercourse with as many women that they want, even if it's every 5 minutes, and get as many women pregnant as they can. But if a woman has intercourse with more than one partner, then they're a whore or a slut, or masculine, feminine. And sometimes, and you have the masculine that's, well, could be a woman and they're bouncing from partner to partner. And they, but if they can't get a woman pregnant, but it's the mentality of thinking that it's okay for one to do it, but if the other were to do it, that can only get pregnant once every 9 to 10 months. Actually, not even that, because it takes 9 months, and you could get pregnant afterwards. But it takes that long. So in 9 months, a man could produce 1,000 kids, whereas a woman can only produce one. But if the woman has more than one partner, they're the slut or whore. There's something wrong with that theory, that thinking mentality. But it's something that's been brought down from one generation to the other. So to me, it's like, saying about someone being a feminist, you're trying to shoot them down and keeping them under thumb. Because it's not about, like, it's not about women per se. Because you get a lot of men that have like feminine a lot of feminine traits to them. I went in the other day to a place where I was getting my glasses because I've been there. I was there a couple times and I was pointing things out to them. And then I was paying for a membership thing that I knew the membership had been paid because I was standing right there when it was paid. I was there when it was paid. And I seen it being paid for. And they were telling me, no, it's not paid. Well, yeah, it is. And I even told them, like, if I'm wrong, then I will admit to it. And while I was trying to sort this person's shit out for them and sort it all out for myself, I contacted them. And I asked, like, do you have a receipt? And all they did was holler and scream at me. So in my languages, right in the middle of the store, I started speaking to them in the languages. And everybody just like, and even when I asked them for the number on their membership, they were flipping shit at me. Like, I'm telling you, it was extremely juvenile. And they tell everybody else to get over it and grow up. Yeah, like it's been happening the other day. This person, they got right in my face and started hollering at me because my opinion don't matter. I know nothing. They want to bring shit to me. But when you gotta look this, you gotta watch this, you gotta read this. But yet when I take stuff to them, where'd you get that information? So this person got right up in my face. So I just I walked right into it. It's like, really? You're bullying a woman? You're bullying a feminine energy, and you think it makes you look big? You think it makes you macho? It actually makes you sad in that aspect. And if that's feels like I just threw shade on somebody, no. Because if you feel that you got to bully people to get what you want, because nobody else's opinion matters but yours, anybody ever think that maybe that's what really happened? One superior only knows, like, it's only they know everything and nobody knows nothing. Nobody can contribute anything. Nobody's allowed to have opinions. Nobody's allowed to think for themselves or create something themselves. It's got to be one way or you'll destroy it. See, if you want to look at, okay, in the early 1900s, you had Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison. Nikola Tesla was bringing out, realized how to create free energy. But because Thomas Edison, so see, Nikola Tesla was more of a feminine energy. Wasn't about making money. But Thomas Edison was more of control the masses and about money. Well, you can't make money on it. So we're going to take, like, we're going to suppress you. We're going to take everything from you. We're going to burn your work down. And I had brought something to someone's attention because it's the same. They have the same outlook on it as like back when Tesla, they said about doing the experiment on a horse and fucking frying a horse to say that Tesla's theories were wrong. That, oh, well, this is what it'll cause. You're freaking hauling energy in all the time. You're breathing it. You're feeling it. Right here. I actually posted to my my Facebook on Vice. Scientists working to generate electricity from thin air make breakthrough. Well, that's what Tesla was doing. Okay? And a masculine energy wanted to be the ruler. You gotta bow to me. You gotta kiss my boot. I had somebody tell me, don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's like, fuck you. If the hand that feeds me is abusing me, then you're freaking right. I may not sound very feminine swearing, but the same energy told me that sometimes you got to speak their language. So if this is the only language that they understand, well, holy shit, man, the frig is your problem? Did you treat your own mother like a piece of shit? Because if you did, you should feel foolish. Like, seriously. And I know that mothers cause harm too. And it's the struggle between the masculine and feminine. You get, like, as parents, a lot of time when we don't want to be, when it's I don't want to be bothered with the child or what have you. Oh, go watch TV. Go play your game. And we wonder why our kids are the way they are. Because they're put in front of a screen. Did you ever watch the movie Cable Guy? Seriously, I will bring forward different movies and what have you. Because in the Cable Guy, was Jim Carrey playing the part. He was the kid that was set in front of the TV. So he went, and when he grew up, he lived out of his van. He had no identity because he was set in front of a TV. So he was going around hooking up people's cable, even throwing them some extra channels for them to be his friend. And then towards the end of it, because when he kidnapped the girl and they went up, and he went up to the satellite where all of everything is broadcasted out. Before he jumped off, he said, somebody's got to kill the babysitter. Because we use this stuff to put our children in front of it. And then do you know what your children are watching? Do you know what's going on when your kids are behind their doors? Because I know that there's a lot been coming out where young children are being coerced. And they're sending sexual pictures of themselves, or they're receiving sexual pictures of others. And then we look and it's like the ones that we need to be looking at is us. It's like I get so tired of hearing the masculine in my life going and talking about everybody behind their back and being so nice to their face. It's like, do you ever do anything out of the goodness of your heart without looking for something in return? Like you go to a church, give us money, and we're going to put fucking gold on our head and jewels. And we're going to tell you you're sinners. Meanwhile, we're fucking indulging in on everything. But yet, the people that are struggling to survive, because sometimes they'll sit and they'll eat a lot because they don't know when they're going to get their next meal. But they're sinners. I looked into some things, and you have evangelists, okay, and they're going on TV and they're doing all this stuff, and they're bringing in millions and millions of dollars. And they're going and they're preaching about people being poor and hungry and no food. But give us your money. Give us the last bit you have. Give us a percentage of your income, and then give the rest to the fucking taxes. That's more of an energy that thinks that it is holier than thou and it deserves everything. There was a song that came on the radio the other day, and the song was saying about basically that prayer is a privilege. Really, prayer is a privilege. So it's a privilege to be able to pray to God? Really? This God that people believe it's a privilege to pray to. If this God is such a good God, why is it just a privilege? Because everyone has a right to prayer. Don't like me? Oh well. I still care about you, but I feel very sorry for you because that's of the way that you are thinking. Because if you feel like you're better and above everyone else, it's not the people that think they're privileged. They're just told, because they're not privileged. Like, you think because somebody has a few things and you want to tell people that they're privileged? Well, you know what? Everybody should be able to have. Everybody deserves abundance. Everybody deserves healing. Everybody deserves love, compassion, and understanding. But you want people to get on their knees and beg. Put yourself on the pedestal. And then you went around telling people. Because the ones that others throw shade on, it's being thrown on the people because you're throwing it on, it's throwing it on other people because you're doing it yourself, even though you want to say that you're not. I know, because I've been there, done that myself. It's like telling people, oh, well, like God said, kill these people. Or God said, sacrifice your son for me. It's like, I didn't really feel comfortable going to church. They said, like I said, it's already hurt me many a times. And I can feel you trying to burn my brain right now. And I feel it in the sacral. I feel it throughout my body right now. And why do I, how do I feel it through my body? Because it's my own masculinity. In that form that doesn't like what I'm saying. So it's like, it's the off balance. You feel the buzzing. It becomes uncomfortable. It's not about submitting to someone and bowing down and groveling at their feet while they're dangling a sausage in front of you like you're a fucking dog. Here, doggy, doggy. Some don't like what I'm saying, and that's fine. And some understand what I'm saying, whether you're on the masculine side or you're on the feminine side, or you're struggling with either side. It's an inner struggle. It's an inner battle. With all of, like, I've done things in my life where it was like, well, I didn't care. Like, I may as well do it to somebody. Somebody did it to me. But then you end up doing it to somebody else who wasn't the one who did it to you. It's about learning how to have compassion for the things that you do that could have other people left feeling one way or another. And then we wonder why we get backlash, why we get the hostility. But it's wearing our own shit. Instead of blaming other people for it. Because none of us, like, we're not innocent. And it's not about what is called sins. It's what's been programmed in us from before we were even born, because it was programmed in our parents. But it's the overriding it. Saying, hey, I got to get past this. I got to move on. It's like, I'm doing a lot of my own learning, my own inner battle with the things that I've done as being the feminine or as being a masculine. I told people before, when I was younger, I was molested and raped. And then I became, as I got older, I had extremely low self-esteem. I felt like that's all I'm here for. Sometimes it felt like, oh, well, do it before they take it anyways, or, oh, well, who gives a fuck? Nobody seemed to have given a fuck about me. And that's the mentality we have. We're hurting other people that aren't even the ones that did to us. So this person having this hatred towards me, and then they want to take no blame for what comes back at them. I know. that I reacted poorly. I did things that I shouldn't have done in that aspect of it all, that part of it all. See, when somebody is acting one way, part of like grovel at my feet, I am your superior, or what have you, and then when you're not giving that anymore, it's like, I have this wrong, I have that wrong. Feel pity for me, feel for me. It's like, feel for yourself. Sort your own shit out. I'm here trying to, it's like some people are here, like we're here trying to help each other. Go to somebody, you want help with something. It's like this person, a lot of it is, they want help. But when help is asked of them, they bitch and complain about it, or they expect something in return. When you've been bending over backwards, and then once in a while you asked the person for help. So I'm going to ask you, why the fuck should anybody help? Why should anybody help you when you don't want to help somebody else, unless there's something in it unless it's something in return? Everybody, it should be an equal. And it's not like that right now. And it hasn't been for a very long time. That's the part of feeling like you're privileged, like everybody should do shit for you, but you don't have to do anything to help other people. And if you do, you want something in return. Here, you got to buy me. You got to pay me off so I'll help you. I just heard somebody say, sounds a lot like our government. Yep. The part of being bought. But see, money may be able to buy material things. But when you get down to the nitty gritty and you connect with your heart, then you realize that all this other frivolous shit, if money buys love, then it's not love. Disi ko tutuye pali atoin. Imish ko labari es tutuye tai. Pali ko labari kita tutu. See, if say things aren't as they seem. I'm not sure when you start seeing things on a spiritual level, you start seeing things differently, and and your belief systems change. And it's okay. But some just want you to keep going with the same beliefs. You got to believe our way, or like you're kicked out. You're no longer part of our family. We don't like you no more. Well, if you're going to do that, then did you really like the person to begin with? We're ripping things away. People don't have to believe the same way, but it shouldn't cause fighting. You should be educating each other in that aspect. And being open to each other's belief systems to expand your own and see things in different aspects of where somebody else may be coming from. But masculine energy and a feminine energy, when they're fighting against each other, it's like I look at the yin and yang sign, and it's like a border pushing against each other. Conflicting. That's the way I see it. It's like it's split in half. And that's what we've done. That's what's happened. It's like we've split in half and grown to dislike each other when everybody loved each other at one point. So that's how you come back, is finding love for both your masculine and feminine side, embracing both sides instead of feeling like one's got to be superior over the other. It's like if you want to have a physical appearance one way or another, don't involve other people. Don't expect that other people's got to follow suit. Don't think that you can force something on somebody who doesn't really know or understand. E me kuta tabiriata tatui sai. Su tutto detta tatiata. Che me lo scriveria su kuru. Yep, we've hurt each other. All of us in that aspect. It's not about looking for followers. It's about being able to lead yourself and teach others how to lead themselves and not want control over one or the other. It's like the movie Ants. The ants were going and gathering all the food and what have you. And then after they gathered all the food, their hard work gathering the food, then the grasshoppers came and always took it. And then in the end, they ended up standing up because the food got all dumped out. And the grasshoppers were mad. So they started hurting the ants, started killing the ants. And then the ants went for backup. The ant went for backup. And then they all stood together. And realized that, no, we need food too. We're out doing all this, and then we gather for them, and then we don't have enough time to gather for ourselves or enough resources. I just heard somebody say it's like a man's law, and but see, the thing is, deep down, everybody knows that. And then some are standing up and saying, hey, we see it for what it is. We see what's going on here. And they're standing up as a feminine and saying, hey, so they're fine. The feminine, it's not just about feminine. It's finding that power within you to say, hey, I'm not your bitch. Did you ever notice in a chicken coop, most times they have one clock? To impregnate. And then they think that they're all that. They'll even attack people. It's like, and then you have chickens, they'll rip each other's, like they'll, in that aspect, they'll rip each other's feathers out. So it's like, put one man in a place and then say, like, okay, you think women aren't going to fight over the one man when there's only one man? It's like, do you wonder why women are like a feminine ends up going to another feminine? Because they're searching for some sort of balance. We talk about the fifth elements. But to me, there's 6 elements in that aspect. You have earth, wind, water, fire. Fifth element being light. And then the 6th being the consciousness, because the light brings consciousness. They go hand in hand. But it's still too extra. There's still an extra. I heard somebody just told me that you have consciousness before you have light. Yeah. Doesn't the light bulb go on into consciousness, awareness? Because you turn the light on, you see everything. But some may say, like, well, what do you know? Where'd you get your education? Where'd you learn this stuff? I learned it by experience and observation, and by going within and connecting with the oneness, connecting with self, of the, like, just the, it becomes a knowing in the aspect that you feel it to the core. You just and it pushes out, and it pushes out on me on both aspects, because right now it's the going back and forth, it's the struggle. So I said, I'm going through it like everybody else. So I don't think I'm better than anybody else, because I've been there and I'm still going through it. So if somebody doesn't like me because they feel like I think I know everything or what have you, no, I know my experiences. And I know what the inner knowingness of, like, being connected and seeing things not with these eyes, but with the spiritual eye, seeing from not only your perspective, but you're also seeing from the sides of your ancestors on both sides, masculine and feminine. Because all these things, we get put against each other. Well, ours is right, yours is wrong. So we're going to fight over it. And then with land, well, God gave us this land. But I don't believe the land was ever really given, as it was meant for everyone to share, not destroy for monetary gain or material things. You have morals. And then they make man-made laws. And then they make up their own laws as they go. It's like when it's a lot like when kids are playing a game. The rules keep changing. Or one has one way and one has the other. Nobody should be killing anybody. Nobody should be disembodying somebody because they stole a loaf of bread for their family to eat. It's like, think about it. Would you want that done to you? And if you do, then go find the people that want it done to them and do it to each other. They say about war, but yet they're going and they're bombing innocent people that have no part in it. People are being raped and killed, poisoned, all in the name. We say, God told us to do it. See, the thing is, if somebody tells you to do something, and you know it's not humane, then aren't you listening to the wrong? Because people shouldn't be living in feeling like they're living in fear. And the ones that say about like feminism and stuff like that, those to me are the ones that feel like a woman is to be seen, or the feminine is to be seen and not heard. You're my bitch and you're there for me to screw anytime I want. But in the meantime, I can go screw anybody I want. I already said, I've even admitted on here that I've cheated. And even when I wasn't in relationships, I've done things with men who was. But I see that. And I admit to it. It's like, do you regret it? No, because it taught me, it helped me to learn more of a valuable lesson. That why do something to somebody else if you don't want it done to yourself? So I'm in the phase right now where I'm still working on myself. And until I am healed, then I sometimes I feel lonely, like I want to be with someone, but then in other aspects of myself, I don't, because I don't want to keep repeating things. So I know that I still have in internal stuff to do, because I hear and I feel things where it's like a part that is saying like it don't want to give a fuck, but it's like, wait a minute. It's more of the masculine in the aspect of sowing thy oats. And I'm not throwing blame on the masculine, because the feminine goes through the aspect of not sowing oats, but looking for somebody to rely on. or someone to share things with. Feminine people tend to look more for intimacy. And this masculine, I had them tell me that when a feminine goes and has multiple partners, those masculines leave a mark on the woman. So it's like passing your is that the passing their gene on to a woman, whether there's a baby involved or not. Here, I'll give you my sperm. It's inside of you now. What have you? Whoa, disquieto tuye. I feel it. It's like an awkward buzzing. It's like when you hear the electricity going through the outlets or going through the wiring, and then you feel uneasy. It's almost like cattle prodding. It's like right now, I feel where just wanting to rip me apart, like I said. You already have. And the last time things were happening and I hollered for God's help, the true, loving one helped me. Because I felt it within myself. I said it in a previous video. It's like you can't know, don't want, like, it's like masculine will try to bury the feminine because it's a nurturer, it's a healer. When in actuality, both actually has the capability. But one wants to be recognized over the other. Doesn't want to share. I said it. See these ones getting up in front of the camera. I'm going to pose. I'm going to pay. I'm going to pay the media so that they put exclusive coverage on me, so I can have my photo op. No, this ain't a photo op. You want to watch me? Watch me. You don't. I'm not telling you to be here. I'm going to say it. To me, when a masculine bullies a feminine, you're a coward. Because ask yourself, how often do you go bully another masculine? Usually they don't. Because they're usually afraid that, oh, well, they might meet their match and they might get their head kicked in, which it doesn't make it right. It just makes it a pompous, in ancient times, gladiators or what, like going up and fighting each other to say who's stronger than who. It's like the cock of the walk. Who's bigger? Who's braver to get feminine? How about the feminine and the masculine start teaching each other? Because each feminine and masculine are both capable. Because, like I said, they're supposed to be working together. Because you're actually both, and that's what the chakras are. Like if you look at this book, you have the chakras, okay, and you have the line up the middle. It's dividing yourself in half. And I said it that like I work on my body because it's like I feel like what side is off balance from the other side, and then it's about bringing the balance back together. And I use my fingertips because it's an energy conductor, and you're working with both sides because you have your feminine side and you have your masculine side. And I have what would appear to be feminine bracelets on this side because this is the side that needs more of the feminine attributes, and this side is like it's more of healing. Sorry, this side needs more of the healing, and this side needs more of becoming more balanced. And I got a chakra bracelet on, and other forms of just like with the energy. And I've seen videos where they say like, well, you don't need all that stuff. It's like, well, that's your belief, but it's part of the earth. It's part of the earth. I'm not wearing diamonds and gold and silver. Well, this, okay, silver, because I got it at a thrift store. But I'm not going out and paying the crap piles of money for it. I got this with pendant on it for like $3. And I got this for $25. It's a chakra. But most of the stuff that I buy from a thrift store. And I know that it's from someone else or what have you. And it's like, we have things for the time that we need it. And then that's when you say, okay, I no longer need it. I'm going to give it away. I have my books. My Dara books, because it was like, use them as tools till I'm able to do stuff on my own, the same as everybody else. And like I hear of people, I watch things on TikTok, and I'm not throwing shade on people, but I have to ask, like, why? Why are we wanting to know whether our ex-boyfriend is going to come back to us? Why do we need to know if you're going to get that job? Do you want the job? It's kind of like seeing yourself with it. And if you don't have it, then it's something that you weren't meant to. And when you go in here and you connect, it's not about asking for something. It's about creating it, bringing it to you, because you know that you are worthy of it. Everybody is worthy of abundance. Everybody is worthy of love. Even if they feel that they've done something wrong, it's about going within and finding yourself and knowing that you are. I have somebody that tells me that they don't know if they'll get to heaven because of all the shit that they've done. It's like, are you still doing it? Or did you learn anything from it? Que tu todavía creáis. Yeah, I end up hearing myself because I usually go back and watch my videos. So what I haven't heard coming out of my mouth, I hear back at myself. Because the person that you're struggling with is yourself. In that in that you need to make the connection to yourself, because you've lost the connection somewhere along the line. The manipulation works both ways. And that's where I said it's not one over the other. Both are doing it. Just one's trying to be more superior over the other. They say you are what you watch, and they have someone that all they watch is about killing and fighting and men beating on women and stuff like that. Like, really? And then you throw shade on feminine, like masculine, watches a bunch of killing and stuff, and men beating on women and everything like that. And when the feminine or the masculine beating on the feminine or what have you, and then the feminine, they're watching love stories, and the masculine are throwing shade on them. What's wrong with wanting to watch love stories? Because brutality is not, it does not look, it's not pleasurable. And I know to like a masculine, oh, it's like, it makes me big. And then because a woman wants love, well, they say it's weakness when it's not. Like right now, I hear him watching a movie where all there is a woman screaming. Well, to you too. Not throwing shade on you. If you're taking it that I'm throwing shade on you, then like that's your own problem. I'm taking responsibility for myself. How about you take responsibility for yours? And I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if you like me. I wrote another thing. We've all been asking the old question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay. Who carries the egg? Feminine, right? The feminine carries the egg. So if the feminine carries the egg, then didn't the chicken and the egg show up together? Because, well, if you think about it, well, it says they came at the same time because everything is made of energy, and energy has always been here, infinity. Spirit is love, love is spirit, spirit is the infinite energy. You are a part of spirit. If spirit is the infinite energy and spirit is love, and you are a part of that energy, then that makes you infinite love energy. No such thing as coincidences, just synchronicities, because a lot of love, it comes from the sacral. Oh, shoot. Okay. And just as I said that, you all probably heard that beep sound. And I will shoot, read to you, oh crap, what it said. Okay, because it just dice totoy. Yeah, come. Okay, let's see, because it just come up. So it would be the most recent one, and it was meditative mind upload, sacral chakra healing, vibration sound bath, ocean sounds, emotional balance, and sexual healing. There's no such thing as coincidences, just synchronicities. So I listen to a lot of frequencies and nature sounds. I seldom watch TV. I listen to music sometimes. I love singing and I love dancing. And it's like we've lost ourselves along the way, lost in space. People say about fallen angels, but like makes me like asked the question, how many took a leap of faith? And I have, yeah, up here, not well, you can't see it, but I have a thing that says about faith and one that says about love. Faith. Faith is being sure of what we hope for and creation and certain of what we do not see. Love. Love is patient. Love is kind. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perceives. Love never fails. It's like being in charge of your own feelings. And like I said, not saying that it's someone else's fault because you feel that way. We have, yes, and I know, believe me, I've had things happen to me too, and I know a lot, like everybody has had things happen to them. But when you hold on to them, then you're giving whatever energy it was that caused that pain, you're giving it more power. Does it make you macho because you like? The sad part is it's. Well, I'm not going to name call. They know, like people know what it is. when you're causing harm to somebody else. But just remember, when harm comes back at you, ask yourself, it's like we ask ourselves, what did I do to deserve this? Well, it's like, don't ask somebody else what you did to deserve it. Ask yourself. Whether it's a good thing or whether you perceive it as something not so good. Like I said before, just remember when you hurt me, you're only hurting yourself. We don't want to believe it, but we're all a part of each other. Because you're a part of the original masculine and you're a part of the original feminine. Because it's all energy. We're just experiencing it in a physical form. Yeah, I can feel that. See, there's times when you get that especially when you're someone who has embraced the feminine and masculine on a more balanced level. And you get a fierce masculine konacha. Because I know when I get, when things happen, sometimes it's like seeing the two masculines go at it. It's like they just want to tear each other apart and throw each other through a wall. I had a masculine come at me one day. And the way I look at it is like, you know, it doesn't make you macho. Because the same masculine would always say about his father being a masculine and saying that his father didn't have a father figure. So it's like, you know, do you ever look at what or hear what you say to other people about how things were for you? And then you turn around and you do the exact same fucking thing? You're a damn hypocrite. Because you're no better. And after you're so old, you can't blame the mother for it. And then make every other feminine wear the shit because you're angry. Standing up to a woman or a feminine does not make you brave. Standing up to someone who is hurting a feminine or a child is what bravery is. And it's not about treating the person like shit and then standing up when somebody else treats them like shit. Because if you're treating them like shit and then somebody else comes along, treats them like shit, but you stand up for them, why is it right? Why is it like, why not just not do it? Even yourself. Yeah, well, if I go on and on, so do you. Because it's the aspect of when someone feels like their shit don't stink, when in all actuality it stinks just as bad as everybody else's. Tikiroi. Right now, it's experiencing the masculine and feminine head to head, going against one another. And the feminine standing up. And the masculine just pounding away. And then when a feminine retaliates back, well, then the masculine is the victim. When in actuality, both are a victim of themselves. And if you don't understand that, that's okay. Because maybe one day when you do the work and you go inward, then you'll see what I'm talking about, or you'll understand. And I can feel the balance right. I can feel it right now. Like, here, you want me to help you? Because you think I haven't already torn myself apart? Because it's like we tear ourselves apart to get away from one another. And like I said, one wants to blame one over the other. It's like they say about two brothers. Wow. Was it two brothers or was it a brother and a sister? Was it a father and a son or was it a father and a daughter? I'm just asking the question. I'm not giving the answer. Because it usually seems to come down to one not willing to experience or one pushing, when they both need to be feeling, both masculine and feminine, in order to understand each other. And that's where the banging heads come in. Some will say banging your head on a wall. What is it? Because you're banging your head on a wall because you're trying to overpower the other? It's like compromising, coming to a realization that each has something to offer. Decide. I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you how to see my video, or can't tell you to have the same beliefs as me or feel the same way as me. But I can ask you to have an open mind. And I can ask you to please stop pointing fingers. It's about using your own discernment, using your own heart. Looking at yourself, looking at your own family in that aspect. It's like I kept running away. I did not want to deal with my masculine. Because to me, all it did was hurt me. And I didn't see where it protected me. And then I found out that I have. It's like an infringing. Bulldozer. And I'm feeling it in chakra. They say katutayaturi. Kishkalamarigada suturu. There's so much violence on TV. Everywhere you look, and I've noticed, and other people have noticed, and other people have voiced it. All you ever see on TV is violence and people fighting. It's because when you see that, it keeps you aggressive in yourself because you're seeing you're seeing something happen. So you end up having an anger, a disdain, a hatred, or what have you. Even if you don't even frickin' know what's going on. It's not about taking sides, it's about like finding out how to resolve, mediate. Because when you get involved, all you do is make yourself a target. But sometimes when you're seeing people like we get involved sometimes where, okay, how do I explain it? When we should be getting involved, we don't. And when we should just like kind of step back and let somebody resolve it between themselves, that's when we jump in and we make it matter. We can end up making matters worse. So it's the same as people say, I'm sorry, like this masculine does stuff and then turns around, I'm sorry. It's like people get sick of it. Like it's like you're saying sorry all the freaking time. Like it means anything anymore. And then you think because you said sorry that it justifies your actions that you keep repeating. That's like somebody going in and saying, oh, I want forgiveness. I want forgiveness. But yet the same masculine will throw shade on the way the church works when they're the exact same way. It's like, what are you doing? Playing both sides of the coin? One don't work out, so you're going to run to the other. And then when that don't work out, you're going to run back. Wow. And you say, and that masculine says about other people that do the same thing. They run with the narrative. Don't want to stand out. I don't want to be the odd one in the bunch. if it goes against what you believe, why the fuck are you believing it in that aspect? Because in all honesty, it makes you no better than the others that you talk about. We all have that aspect of going back and forth until you actually snap out of it and wake up and see. But that's not up to me. It's like we're going through our ancestor stuff and sorting it out. It's like, if you hate me that much, then you must hate yourself. And that's when you need to ask yourself, why do you hate yourself? See, I have so much coming forward right now that it's not just coming out as feminine. Like masculine's like coming out. It's the torn between the two. And then that's when you feel like you don't want to be either or in some aspects. Because you look and it's like, holy crap, man. I've come to grow to love myself and all the stuff. Well, like I said, I'm still working on myself, still working with myself, not on myself. I'm working with myself. I'm feeling it. It's like here, down. But a lot of it is in this in the sacral and the root. Because the sacral is more of the conflict between the feminine and masculine. And then grounding, it's like the fight or flight. Because I can say there's probably a lot of us who's wanted to run away from ourselves before. Guess what? Strangely, we actually did. And now we're being put in a place where we have to deal with ourselves. We can no longer run from ourselves. And it's like, if that means that we end up like friggin' losing our minds in the process, like I thought I was losing mine until I realized and actually listened to what my body was telling me, what my heart was telling me, what the alignment in my body was telling me. They say take a pill. You have mental health issues. Take a pill. You're chemically imbalanced. Well, it's your chakras that are imbalanced. Balance your chakras, and then see. Come here. That your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health, however you perceive spiritual health or what have you, will come in alignment, and you will start to heal. This is like it's like people would say that it's a taboo information. And I'm extremely grateful for the spirit ancestors that were able to get through to me to help me learn how to become more balanced physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. How to become more connected with myself and with others around me. Guys said I like about being a psychologist or what have you, a counselor, somebody to help people. And I didn't want to prescribe medication. But it's about like counseling myself so that I can teach others how to do the same for themselves. Guide them down the path to to their own enlightenment, to be able to fulfill their own hopes and dreams, not someone else's. It's like, it's not about beating on each other or killing each other or causing bodily harm to one another or manipulating one another. Although, and I know that's the way, like a lot of people say it's been. And I've had somebody tell me, oh, well, nothing's going to change. No, with that mental mentality, no, nothing's going to change. And maybe that's why nothing's changed for you. We want to sit around and wallow in our own self-pity and say, oh, I'm not wallowing in my own self-pity, but yet you're going behind other people's backs and you're saying about what this person has and how did they get that and everything like that. Or some are saying about that they need this done in to their home, or they need that done to their home, but then they're going out and spending money on frivolous shit that they don't even freaking need. They need windows, but instead they're going and paying $1,000 for frivolous shit that they're not even using. It's just being stashed away and saying, "Oh, I'll use it one day." Well, how about you just fucking start using it? or figuring out how you're going to use it instead of sitting in front of a freaking TV watching violence. When I look back at how much violence I inflicted on other living things in this lifetime, because we've all been our ancestors, and that's why we're wearing this. We're aspects, different like experiences we've had. And it hasn't been a lot. I can tell you that when I was like a little kid, we always had the rumor of if a toad pees on you, it will give you a wart. I was like 5. And a little baby toad peed on me. And when it peed on me, I threw it to the ground and I stepped on it. And then at like 7, 8, I didn't kill a snake, but I dissected the eggs because I wanted to see what they look like. So then we get dissected. If we want to see what you look like. And then I was like 11 or 12. I was outside and a friend of mine, she threw a frog at me. And I was freaked out by them. And when it landed to the ground, I stepped on it. When I was like 10, I didn't like what my little sister was doing. And we kind of got into it, and I picked up a stick and I threw it. And I hit her in the eye with it. And I just got asked, did you ever spank your son? A few times, and one time I accidentally got infuriated. Not to the point like it was just like when you like your mind is just boggled, and they're like it was the screaming, and I shook him, but I banged his head on the floor. And I grabbed my youngest sister by the throat one day because we got into it, and it had been about something she had said that was really a sensitive topic for me. And I grabbed her by the throat and pushed her up against the fridge. Didn't choke her. I grabbed her by the throat. I had a man throw a pen at me, threw it back. He grabbed me by the throat. Only when he grabbed me by the throat, this was when I had before I lost my pure masculinity, because I stood up to bullies. And he grabbed me by the throat. And when he grabbed me by the throat, I just took and I grabbed him and I charged him back to a closet door. And I told him not to ever lay another hand on me again, or I would kill him. I wouldn't really kill him, but that's how I felt. It was because, part of not understanding. And then I had someone that their boyfriend was hitting them with a coat hanger. And I grabbed them and kicked them out of the house and told them not to come back. And the person I was protecting got mad at me. And then them and the other person come back in. And one held me down while the other one was pulling my hair out. There were aspects where I wouldn't fight back because I didn't want to inflict pain on others. There was one where, one was between me and someone else, and that person was pregnant, and I didn't know I was. Got into it, and I wouldn't lay a hand on them, but they were pulling my hair out. But yet I was the one that got everything that I wanted, and what I got was displaced. Did not know where I belonged. And left home. I'm not innocent. Like I said, we get back things that we put out, whether it's in this now or in a different now. So it's like learning that if you don't want something done to you, don't do it to somebody else. I didn't. The only thing I want is a connection with family. And no one should be pushed out or made to feel or left feeling like they don't belong. And that's what we're doing to each other, whether we want to believe that or not. Because I know the masculine that I'm around feels the same way about his own family, but won't express it. Oh, shit. My nose just started to bleed. Excuse me. Crap. Wow. Wow. This is today annoying. I'm sure my shirt. Yeah. Excuse me. And I know that I'm not the only one that has experienced things. But see, the thing is, when you're doing a video, and I've told people, do a video with yourself. Sit and talk with yourself as if you're talking to someone else that you're like kind of giving advice to in a situation like yourself. And allow it to come out. Allow that pain to come out. And if people don't like me talking about this, maybe that's because they're feeling the same way, only they can't confront it. It's seeing your pain, talking through it, releasing it. Because it doesn't matter how many times you go, oh, really, you okay? It doesn't matter how many times you go to a counselor and therapist. The best way is talking it through with yourself or putting it out there. No, I just heard somebody say nobody can make you do something you don't want to do. Except some people like to force it. But that's when they're trying to force it, that's when you got to find yourself and say, hey, no. I'm not going to wear this because it's not mine to wear. And what is mine to wear? Then we need to accept that, look at it, and work through it. And I'm feeling it right now. Like I'm feeling the chakras like kind of buzz. It's like when you feel like you don't know where you belong anymore because of a situation that took place. You're labeled as one, but you're something different. And you're not allowed to be that one. It gets hard on the head sometimes, but then you got to look back and you got to see, like, okay, you were doing the right thing, only something played out that you didn't realize was going to in some aspects. And then you're told you need to accept it. And then those are the things that you want to run from because you struggle dealing with it. And then you're told to accept it and get over it. Or some things are rubbed in your face time and time again. And that's like when a mother has a child and they cut the umbilical cord. It's like cutting it away from the child, cutting the connection from the mother and child. And I know to some this may sound gross, but it's like me, like it's like I almost feel like instead of cutting the umbilical cord, why don't you just like leave the natural nourishment attached until it falls off? And some people would say, well, that's barbaric and that's disgusting. It's like that to me just means that that's when, almost like when it's ready to leave the nest. Still have the connection, but be able to experience things for the self in ways, but experience it together in others. In the animal world, with cats and dogs and stuff like that, to notice that they, when the kittens or pups are born or what have you, when the babies are born, the mother usually eats the placenta and takes the nourishment back into herself because it was what she was more losing from her body to feed to the baby. I'm not saying eat your placenta. People would like, maybe they did back in days. Who knows? I don't. At least not right now. I was sneering. I seen it on, and I understand the concept because they used It was like they used these scissors to cut the destiny of the baby. Well, it cuts off from the mother. And I see where what it's explaining in a lot of different ways. And I do refer to different movies. Even this one series, like I said, that I like a few series that I watch, especially like Once Upon a Time, because I see it. And the way home is through your heart. You say the sun. Well, you say the sun is the center of the universe. And the child is the heart. So it's like love. But it's all on how others interpret things. Because no one person sees everything exactly the same. Or experiences everything exactly the same. Like some people hear, like people are talking, and some people hear one thing, and another person will hear another. See, I'm feeling it in the root and the sacral again, and it's like it's a buzzing, and I really don't know why my nose started bleeding. And I wasn't sitting here picking it. So I'm not here being a know it all or anything like that, because it's you using your own discernment. Because, like I said, we all experience things differently. You experience things in your own time and what have you. But I'm here, like, letting you know, like, you're not the only one. You're not alone in this. Everyone's going through it. Seeing it, like, in their own time and their own pace. It's like right in the right here, because it's a lot of we get fear. Sometimes it's fear of facing the truth. That most say like that, like fear is a lot of false information appearing real, because we're putting something more into it than what really is there. But some aren't ready to understand that yet. And some, they really don't want to take the time to, and they just want to turn away and say that people like myself are just lunatic and needs to be in a psychiatric unit. But nope, they just need the the guidance to help them to understand what they're going through, what they're experiencing. And we're here to help each other through that as we become connected with ourselves and we start understanding things, then we're able to go and help others to learn ways that work for them. Because what works for me may not work for you, but it's a matter of figuring out how deep your seed goes. But I do recommend doing videos, whether you're doing it for other people to hear your experiences or whether you're doing it for yourself so that you can go back and actually see, hear, feel. And even it's like an experience because when you're doing it, you're explaining an experience that you've had yourself. So you're explaining it to yourself so you can kind of like, sometimes when we say in here, it's not necessarily that we can get it. So we got to, some people feel like they have to physically see it. So I know, like, if I can do it, if I can get through this, then I know all of you can. It's a matter of, we just need to get her out of our own way. And I know that's hard. So I'm going to right. Sometimes when we're pointing fingers at each other, we don't take the time to see the good things in the other. We don't take the time to see the good things in that person, because all we're seeing is what we perceive to be not so good. But it's the part of, like, we don't know what each other's been through unless we've been there ourselves, and then even it happens differently. Yes. Sometimes it can appear that it happens the same way, but it's a matter of like realizing that we need, like, what's not working. We keep doing what's not working because we're told no, and eventually it will. It's like, no, here. This is what works. Align yourself. This is the way. I can feel it right here. It's like, and then part of it kind of released a bit here, and then it went straight up here, and I know that it's scritto de square. It's the feeling of wanting to get there now. And then when you get there, it's like, oh shit, I just did it again. It's because you didn't deal with whatever you keep repeating, whatever we keep repeating. So, like, I'm not repeating what you're repeating. So, the other day I was going to do a video on the chakras and meditation and stuff like that. I'm still more or less learning this. I know I have it in, I know I have it within myself. It's just, continuing to clear, because once you become like the balance, then everything else starts to come more easily. It's not such a struggle. It's like, oh, okay, shit. Oh, okay, now I see. And then you move on. It's not sitting and struggling so much that it's just like over and over again, because it keeps you stuck. I'm always learning. And we can learn from each other. But in that aspect, it's like being able to see each other's point of view. And then that's when you don't see each other's point of view, it's because one is trying to enforce it on the other. And it's like, I said, everyone has something to offer, and something may be one way, but then it just no longer works anymore. Maybe it's the long route, the long way around it, opposed to a easier way. We make our own struggles by complicating things. And it's about more simplifying instead of making everything so messy. So, with that being said, going, oh, shoot. Yeah, I know, Rolly. I'm going to read my card, and then I'll stop, get off the video. Anyone who doesn't believe in miracles is not a realist. And that's not something to throw shade on anybody or anything like that. It's not to insult people. It's because the thing is, you're seeing miracles every day, but you're being told that you're not. Okay. So with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings. Most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing, ready to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self, be true to yourself, be true to others. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. And know that you have so much strength and power within you that we don't even comprehend sometimes because we're told that we don't. So I'm sending you love and and it's not just about me sending you love, it's finding your love. Sikotai.